Join ForumIAS Academy, trusted by hundreds of toppers, including IAS Rank 1 Shruti Sharma.
Good evening, aspirants. Welcome to the Hindu news analysis discussion brought to you by ForumIAS for the date 12th May 2023. These are the list of news articles for today's discussion. We will be covering 5 topics from polity, governance, science, and a topic from economics and international relations. Alongside this, we will also be covering 2 previous year prelims questions at the end. So, with this, let us straight away move to our first article of the day. First topic, absence of ICC in Wrestling Federation. NHRC issues notice. The news is regarding the suo measure taken by the National Human Rights Commission. The National Human Rights Commission found the absence of internal complaints committee in Wrestling Federation of India. Know that the constitution of Internal Complaints Committee is mandated under the Prevention of Sexual Harassment Act 2013. So after knowing this, the NHRC has issued a notice to the Wrestling Federation of India. From this topic, let us know about the POSH Act and about the Internal Complaints Committee. See, sexual harassment at workplace is one of the issues faced by women in the modern world. It not only violates their right to life, equality and liberty, but also discourages their participation in economic activities. This Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Act of 2013 defines sexual harassment as one or more of the following unwelcome acts, such as physical contacts and advances, demand or request for sexual favors, making sexually colored remarks, showing pornography, or any other unwelcome physical, verbal or non-verbal conduct of sexual nature. The workplace includes any government or private sector organization, establishments, etc. It also covers unorganized and domestic workers, hospitals, any sports institutes, stadium or complex, or even any place visited by the employee during their course of employment. In order to prevent this from happening, the Government of India has also taken various steps. Let us see that one by one. First is that prior to the POSH Act, sexual harassment was addressed under the IPC provisions. It dealt with outraging the modesty of women either by force or by word, gesture or act. This is covered under the Section 354 and Section 509 under the Indian Penal Code. Secondly, India has signed the Convention on Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women in the year 1980. India also ratified the convention, and by the year 1997, as a part of Vishaka judgment, the Supreme Court laid down specific guidelines known as Vishaka Guidelines. The guidelines focused on prevention of sexual harassment of women at workplace, and based on this only, the government enacted the Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplaces Act of 2013. Now let us see the provisions under the Act. The Act, as said before, defines sexual harassment at the workplace, and the Act also creates a mechanism for redressal of complaints. It also provides safeguard against false or malicious charges. This Act mandates that every workplace to constitute an internal complaints committee. The internal complaints committee is mandatory at each office or branch with 10 or more employees. These ICC have the power of civil court for gathering evidence, and here you must know that ICC prescribes penalty for employers. That is, non-compliance with the provision of the Act shall be punishable with a fine. In case of repetition of violence or violation of Act, the POSH Act imposes higher penalty or cancellation of license or registration to conduct business. Another provision is that an ICC constituted by an organization should have a minimum of 4 members. This includes an external member, and at least one half of the ICC members should be women. Also, the district officer is required to constitute a local complaints committee at each district, and if required at the block level also. Know that if the complainant requests, then the complaints committee are required to provide for conciliation before initiating an inquiry. Here you must know the complaints committee have the power of civil courts in respect of summoning and examining any person or for production of documents. If we take the procedure for complaint, it is not compulsory for the aggrieved victim to file a complaint for the ICC to act. If the women cannot complain because of physical or mental incapacity, their legal heir may also complain in the internal complaints committee. And under the act, the complaint must be made within 3 months from the date of incident. However, the ICC can extend the time limit upon its satisfaction. Then the ICC may either forward the victim's complaint to the police, or it can start an inquiry by itself, which must be completed within 90 days. When the inquiry is completed, the ICC must provide a report of its findings to the employer within 10 days. Then the report is also made available to both the parties. Another most important aspect of this act is regarding the victim protection. The identity of the women, respondent, witness, or any information on the inquiry, recommendation, and action taken should not be made public. Finally, if the allegations of sexual harassment are proved, the ICC recommends that the employer take action in accordance with the provision of service rules of the company. It also recommends that the company deduct from the salary of the person who is found guilty. Then if we take the compensation is determined based on 5 aspects. They are suffering and emotional distress caused to women, loss in career opportunity, then cost of medical expenses, income and financial status of the respondent, feasibility of such payments, etc. After the recommendations from the ICC, the aggrieved women or the respondent can appeal in court within 90 days. And know that the section 14 of the act provides that ICC may recommend to the employer to take actions against the person who has made malicious complaint and false evidence. So only genuine complaints are welcomed here. This is all about ICC and the act. Further, if we take other measures from the government side, Section 354A was added to the IPC through Criminal Law Amendment Act of 2013. It also provides for enough punishment for sexual harassment of women at the workplace. Then the Union Ministry for Women and Child Development had set up a committee under Justice J.S. Verma to curb sexual harassment at workplaces following the Me Too campaign on social media. Then the Ministry of Women and Child Development has published a handbook regarding sexual harassment at the workplace. The handbook gives detailed instances of behavior that constitutes sexual harassment at the workplace. Final point is that Ministry of Women and Child Development also created an online complaints management system known as She-Box. Women can use this She-Box for registering complaints related to sexual harassment at the workplace. Once a complaint is submitted to the portal, it will be directly sent to the internal complaints committee, and then the procedure as we discuss now will follow. So that is all about the Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplaces Act and regarding the internal complaints committee. So with this, let us close the topic here and move to the next topic of the day. Second topic, technology is a tool to empower people, says Prime Minister. PM Modi addressed an event on National Technology Day. The speciality of the event is that it marks the 25th anniversary of Pokhran test. In that event, the Prime Minister hailed the 1998 nuclear test in Pokhran and also laid the foundation stone for the Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory, India. From this news article, let us know about LIGO, as it is in news for some time. But before that, since it is the 25th anniversary of Pokhran test, let us just know about the key features of India's nuclear doctrine in short. First is no first use policy. India committed to not being the first to use nuclear weapons in a conflict, but India would retaliate if attacked with such weapons. Second policy is the credible minimum deterrence. That is, India would maintain a sufficient number of nuclear weapons to deter a nuclear attack, but it would not seek to match other countries' arsenal in size. Third policy is the non-use against non-nuclear weapon states. India would not use or threaten to use nuclear weapons against countries that do not possess nuclear weapons. Fourth and the final feature is the retaliation to a nuclear attack. If India is subjected to a nuclear attack, it would retaliate, causing massive damage to the aggressor. These are the key features of India's nuclear doctrine. Now let us know about the LIGO. The news is that Government of India has given a green signal to rupees 2600 crore project for setting up laser interferometer gravitational wave observatory India, that is LIGO India, in the Hingoli district of Maharashtra. See, LIGO is the world's most powerful observatory. It uses the physical properties of light and space to detect and understand the origins of gravitational waves. Before going further, let us know what is gravitational waves. A gravitational wave is an invisible ripple in space. Gravitational waves travel at the speed of light, where the waves squeeze and stretch anything that comes in their path. Albert Einstein originally predicted the existence of gravitational waves in the year 1916. He did so on the basis of his theory of general relativity. The most powerful gravitational waves are created when objects move at very high speed. Some examples of events that cause gravitational waves are supernova, collision of stars, or collision of black holes. When a star explodes asymmetrically, it causes supernova. During that period, gravitational waves are created and observed. Then, when two big stars collide each other, or when two black holes orbit each other and merge, we will be able to detect the gravitational waves. See, the first ever detection of gravitational wave happened in the year 2015. It was captured by two US based LIGO detectors. These gravitational waves were produced by mergers of two black holes. Scientists checked the result for 4 months before announcing their result in the year 2016. Then this achievement was promptly rewarded with the Nobel Prize in the year 2017. Since then, 9 more gravitational wave events have been detected by 4 observatories which are present in US, Europe and in Japan. Now, as an expansion to the network of observatory, LIGO India would be the fifth node of international network of globe gravitational wave observatories, and it will be possibly the last one as well. LIGO India stands for Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory in India. LIGO India will be an advanced gravitational wave observatory which is to be located in the state of Maharashtra. It is a part of worldwide network. It is envisaged as a collaborative project between groups of Indian research institutes and LIGO Observatory in the US along with the international partners. It will be built by the Department of Atomic Energy, Department of Science and Technology, with a MOU signed with the National Science Foundation of United States. For India, LIGO is a momentous milestone. See, India has been an active collaborator in number of international science projects. These includes Large Hadron Collider experiments, the efforts to create a thermonuclear reactor that would enable controlled nuclear fusion reactions, etc. But however, India has not yet built a cutting edge scientific facility on this scale on its own soil, something that can have a huge spin off benefits for its science and technology sector. Therefore, LIGO is a crucial uh, project to demonstrate India's intent and capability to pull off complex science project on its own. Third topic, GST invoicing to include smaller firms from August 1. The news is about the notification issued by the Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs. Through the notification, the central government has made firms with rupees 5 crore annual turnover to mandatorily file GST invoices. This threshold limit was rupees 10 crores previously, but now firms with annual turnover even with rupees 5 crore should file GST e-invoice. So this move is set to expand the tax net under GST regime. So from this news topic, let us know about GST comprehensively. Goods and Services Tax. Goods and Services Tax is a comprehensive indirect tax on manufacture, sale, and consumption of goods and services throughout India. It replaced the existing taxes levied by the central and state governments, and it is a single indirect tax for the whole nation, which made India one unified common market. Likewise, it is the destination based tax applied on goods and services at the place where final or actual consumption happens. Know that GST is applied to all goods other than crude oil, crude petroleum, motor spirit, diesel, aviation turbine fuel, natural gas, and on alcohol for human consumption. There are four slabs for taxes for both goods and services. They come under 5%, 12%, 18%, and 28% categories. Although GST aimed at levying uniform tax rates on all products and services, four different tax slabs were introduced because daily necessities could not be subjected to the same rate as luxury items. Now coming to the GST Council. GST Council is the most important part of India's GST regime. The council is responsible for recommending rates of tax, period of levy, principles of supply, threshold for exemption, floor levels, special provisions to certain states, etc. Article 279A of the Constitution enables the formation of GST Council by the President to administer and govern GST. The Union Finance Minister of India is the chairperson of the GST Council, and ministers nominated by the state governments are the members of GST Council. The council is devised in such a way that center will be having 1/3 of voting power and the states will have 2/3 voting power. The decisions are taken by the majority of 3/4 majority. Then know that a mechanism for resolving disputes arising out of the GST recommendations also decided by the council itself. Now coming to the achievements of GST regime, first is the expansion of tax net. The number of registered taxpayers at the time when the GST was rolled out was over 65 lakhs. But as of March 2020, there were 1.23 crore active GST registrations. This indicates a significant increase in tax base and change in taxpayers' compliance behavior. Apart from that, the GST regime also brought a cash-driven informal economy into the tax net. Second is the increase in revenue collections. In 2018 to 19, the average monthly collection was around 97,000 crores. But in 2019 to 20 itself, within a year, it reached nearly 12.2 lakh crores annually. Third achievement is the introduction of e-way bill. Apart from few initial technical glitches, the e-way bill system has been largely streamlined. The total number of e-way bills generated during the financial year of 2020 were approximately 63 crores. Then fourth is regarding the rate rationalization. In the year 2017, nearly 19% of items were under the 28% tax, GST tax. But currently, only 3% of items are subjected to the 28% GST rate. Then the legislative amendments and clarifications. The GST law has undertaken significant changes since its inception. Within few years, there were about 700 notifications and over 30 orders issued by the GST Council. These aimed to address taxpayers' demand and to carry out procedural simplifications to curb tax evasion. Then, if we take the center-state relationship, since most decisions in the GST Council have been unanimous, this shows a better cooperative federalism in the country. Then the seventh and eighth point is regarding the reduced interface with tax officials. See, within few years, about 12 crore returns have been filed and nearly 380 crore invoices have been processed by the GST network. This reduced the user's interface with the tax official. The last point is the reduction in turnaround time. The turnaround time for transportation of goods has come down with the dismantling of barriers and checkposts on the state borders. This is gradually leading to emergence of truly national market. So these are few achievements of GST. If we take the issues in GST regime in India, the 15th Finance Commission report formally acknowledged that the GST regime in India is an economic failure that did not deliver on its early promises. First is regarding the multiple tax rates. Unlike many other economies which have implemented this tax regime, India has multiple tax rates. This hampers the progress of single indirect tax rates for all the goods and services in the country. Second point is that new cesses crop up. While GST scrapped multiplicity of taxes and cesses, a new levy in the form of compensation cess was introduced for luxury and sin goods. This was later expanded to include automobiles also. Then the third point is economy outside GST purview. Nearly half the economy remains outside GST. Example, petroleum, real estate, electricity duties remain outside the GST purview. Fourth point is the complexity of tax filings. The GST legislation requires the filing of GST annual returns by specified category of taxpayers along with the GST audit. But filing annual returns is a complex and confusing one for the taxpayers. Apart from that, the annual filing also includes many details that are waived in the monthly and quarterly filings. And coming to the last issue, it is the higher tax rates. Though rates are rationalized, there is still 50% of items under the 18% tax bracket. Apart from that, there are certain essential items to tackle the pandemic that was also taxed higher. For example, 12% tax on oxygen concentrators, 5% on vaccines, etc. So these are few issues surrounding GST regime. So from this article, we saw about GST, GST Council, the achievements and issues with GST in a comprehensive manner. So with this, let us close the topic here. Fourth topic, Mpox no longer a global health emergency, says WHO. WHO has recently announced that Mpox no longer constitutes a global health emergency. So let us know about public health emergency of international concern and about Mpox now. What is this public health emergency of international concern? A public health emergency of international concern is the WHO's highest alert level. It is the part of international health regulations which have been governing framework for global health security since 2007. If we take the definition, World Health Organization defines PHEIC as an extraordinary event which is determined to constitute a public health risk to other states. It is through the international spread of disease that constitutes public health risk, and so potentially it requires a coordinated international response. The definition implies that the situation is serious, sudden, unusual or unexpected and carries implications for public health beyond the affected country's border. Here we must know the WHO reserves the designation for only those diseases that need a coordinated international response to prevent them from potentially escalating into a pandemic. The alert has been previously issued for Ebola, H1N1 swine flu, polio virus, Zika virus and many other diseases. Now let us see about the Mpox. See, monkeypox is a viral zoonotic disease. That is a disease that is transmitted from infected animals to humans. Mpox occurs primarily in the tropical rainforest areas of Central and West Africa, but it is occasionally exported to other regions also. Mpox belongs to orthopox virus, which is a genus of viruses that also includes the variola virus, which causes smallpox. It was first discovered in the year 1958 following two outbreaks of pox-like disease in the colonies of monkeys that were kept for research. That is why it led to the name monkeypox. If we take the source of transmission, human to human transmission is very limited. However, transmissions when it occurs can be through contacts with bodily fluids, or it can occur in lesions on the skin or on internal surfaces such as in mouth or throats. It can even occur because of respiratory droplets and contaminated objects. The first human case was recorded in the year 1970 in the Democratic Republic of Congo. This was during the period of intensified efforts to eliminate smallpox. If we take the symptoms, it begins with fever, headache, muscle aches, backache, and exhaustion. It also causes the lymph nodes to swell, which leads to monkeypox. The incubation period for monkeypox or mpox is usually 7 to 14 days, but it can also range from 5 to 21 days. And know that there is no safe, proven treatment for monkeypox yet. The WHO recommends supportive treatment depending on the symptoms. And know that awareness is important for the prevention and control of this infection. And if we take the mortality rate, according to WHO, the proportion of patients who die has been varying across 0 to 11% in the documented cases, and it has been higher among the young children. So we can see mpox is causing risk to young children only. So this is all about mpox. So in this article we saw about public health emergency of international concern, which is designated by WHO, and also about the mpox, which is in news recently. So with this, let us close this topic here. Coming to the final topic, the problem with India's multi-alignment stand. The opinion section begins by telling that China has undertaken mediation to resolve the Ukrainian crisis. China also accused USA and the eastward expansion of NATO as the reason for Russia-Ukraine war. This is more of international politics and how countries are forging alliances based on their national interest. Let us deal this topic from prelims point of view. So let us know about the NATO, which is mentioned in the opinion section. North Atlantic Treaty Organization is a military alliance which is established by the North Atlantic Treaty, which is also called as Washington Treaty of 1949. It strives to secure a lasting peace in Europe based on common values of individual liberty, democracy, human rights, and the rule of law. Its initial members were United States, Canada, and several Western European nations. However, the membership gradually expanded over the years and eventually reached 31 now. It was established during the Cold War in response to the threat posed by the Soviet Union. The alliance has remained in place since the end of Cold War and has been involved in military operations in Balkans, Middle East, South Asia, and in Africa. NATO is based on the principle of collective security or defense. Know that a NATO decision is the expression of collective will of all 31 member countries since all decisions are taken by consensus. NATO's headquarters is located at Brussels, Belgium. The most recent member state to be added to NATO was Finland this year. NATO currently recognizes Bosnia and Herzegovina, Georgia, and Ukraine as aspiring members. If we take the objectives of NATO, it promotes democratic values and enables members to consult and cooperate on defense and security related issues. This is to solve problems, build trust, and in long run prevent conflict. And NATO commits to peaceful resolution of disputes. If diplomatic efforts fail, it has the military power to undertake crisis management operations. These are carried out under the collective defense clause of NATO's founding treaty or a United Nations mandate. Then one more objective is the collective defense. It is committed to the principle that an attack against one or several of its members is considered as an attack against all. This is the principle of collective defense which is enshrined in the Article 5 of Washington Treaty. So far, Article 5 has been invoked only once. That was in response to the 9/11 terrorist attack in the United States. But what is the NATO stance in current Russia-Ukraine war? NATO condemned in the strongest possible terms Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine starting in the Feb 2022. And NATO called it unjustified and unprovoked. As per the grouping, this is the grave violation of international law and a serious threat to Euro-Atlantic security. The NATO alliance also condemned Russia's decision to extend recognition to the separatist region of eastern Ukraine. Then NATO allies called on Russia to immediately cease its military action and withdraw all its forces from in and around Ukraine. Then NATO said that it stands with the people of Ukraine and its legitimate democratically elected president. Although direct military action was not provided as the Ukraine is not a member of NATO. Now, coming back to the opinion, we saw, right, China accused the USA and said eastward expansion of NATO was the reason for Russia-Ukraine war. When China has taken a clear stand, why couldn't India take a stand like that? That is the question that is raised by the author. If India wants to be a Vishwaguru or the mother of democracies, as our Prime Minister often used to say, why are we not able to take a clear stand and why do we often move along the multi-alignment stand? The author says that is because India lacks hard power. In addition to it, India has avoided taking a clear position in many UN resolutions on many issues. And for any aspiring nation that wants to become a permanent UNSC member, such a move will not yield any positive results. That is what the opinion is trying to tell. So from exam point of view, we saw about NATO, and in short, we also saw about the opinion of the author. So with this, let us close our news articles discussion here. Now coming to the previous year prelims questions, the two questions that we are going to discuss now has appeared in the year 2018. Consider this. First question, with reference to the provisions made under the National Food Security Act 2013, consider the following statements. First statement, the families coming under the category of below poverty line only are eligible to receive subsidized food grains. Statement 2, the eldest women in a household of age 18 years or above shall be the head of the household for the purpose of issuance of ration card. Statement 3, pregnant women and lactating mothers are entitled to a take-home ration of 1600 calories per day during pregnancy and for 6 months thereafter. Which of these statements given above is or are correct? The options given are option A 1 and 2, option B 2 only, option C 1 and 3 only, option D 3 only. See, first statement is wrong because the Act provides for coverage of up to 75% of rural population and up to 50% of urban population. This is for receiving subsidized food grains under the targeted public distribution system. Thus, on a whole, it covers 2/3 of the population. So, first statement is wrong. If we remove first statement, we will end up with option B or D. Second statement is correct because it provides the eldest women of the household of age 18 years or above to be the head of household. And if we take the third statement, this is wrong because besides meal to pregnant women and lactating mothers during pregnancy and 6 months after the childbirth, women will be entitled to receive maternity benefit of not less than 6,000 rupees. And since the second statement is correct, the answer for this question is option B, 2 only. Second question, with reference to digital payments, consider the following statements. Statement 1, BIM app allows the user to transfer money to anyone with a UPI enabled bank account. Statement 2, while a chip PIN debit card has 4 factors of authentication, BIM app has only 2 factors of authentication. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? The options given are option A 1 only, option B 2 only, option C both 1 and 2, option D neither 1 nor 2. See, first statement is correct. The BIM interface for money, which is the BIM, is a payment app that lets you make simple, easy and quick transaction using UPI. You can make direct bank payments to anyone on UPI using their UPI ID or scanning their QR with the BIM app. You can also request money through the app from UPI ID. So first statement is correct. Second statement is wrong because from a consumer point of view, there are 3 levels of authentication that are required in the app. It is not 2 factors of authentication. So one is the device ID and mobile number, then the bank account which you are linking to this app, then finally the UPI PIN which is needed to complete the transaction. So BIM app requires 3-factor authentication. This statement is wrong. The answer for this question is option A, 1 only. With this, we have come to the end of news articles and previous year questions discussion. Let us wind up our discussion here. If you like the video and if you can understand the concepts well, please like, comment, share and subscribe to Forum IAS Academy in various social media platforms for further updates. Thank you for listening.